Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN Newswatch. I'm George Thomas. Today, the Supreme Court strikes down affirmative action. We'll have a look at some lawmakers' reactions to the ruling. Wow, the holiday weekend has started and the TSA and airlines are preparing for the travel rush. Plus, a one-of-a-kind training center hits an historic milestone in Israel. And a look at a growing trend of revivals in America's prisons. Those stories and much more today on Newswatch.
This is CBN Newswatch.
But we begin this half hour with another landmark case. The High Court moved to strike down affirmative action in college admissions, and it's getting sharp reactions. Conservatives are praising the ruling, which restricts the role race can play in higher education admissions. Meanwhile, President Biden is slamming it and calling on admissions officers to find other ways to prioritize diversity on their campuses. CBN's Jenna Browder has more on our top story from our nation's capital.
After more than 40 years, it's the end of an era in American law and life. In a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court rolled back affirmative action in higher education.
These opinions reestablish the founding principles of the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which clearly forbids treating Americans differently by race.
The group bringing the case, arguing affirmative action policies at Harvard and the University of North Carolina, used racial preferences to favor some, while discriminating against others, often Asian Americans. Joined by the High Court's 5 other conservatives, Chief Justice John Roberts writing the policies at these 2 schools unavoidably employ race in a negative manner and involve racial stereotyping. Adding, eliminating racial discrimination means eliminating all of it. And warning, the student must be treated based on his or her experiences as an individual, not on the basis of race. In a sharp dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor declaring the devastating impact of this decision cannot be overstated. Ignoring racial inequality will not make it disappear. President Biden also criticizing the decision.
Discrimination still exists in America. Today's decision does not change that. It's a simple fact.
And when asked about the High Court's legitimacy,
this is not a normal court.
Former President Trump disagreeing on Truth Social, calling the ruling a great day for America. And today marks the last day of the High Court's term, with more big decisions expected on President Biden's student loan forgiveness program and a case involving a Christian graphic artist from Colorado who wants to design wedding websites but objects to making them for same-sex couples. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Thank you, Jenna. In one of the most significant Supreme Court rulings on religious freedom in the past 40 years, the High Court ruled in favor of a Christian mail carrier for fighting for the right not to work on Sundays. Abigail Robertson reports that the justices made clear workers who ask for religious accommodations must receive them unless their employees can show substantial cost increase. Take a look.
When mailman Gerald Groff started working for the Postal Service, he didn't have to work Sundays. But that changed in 2013 when the service started to deliver packages 7 days a week.
I was raised in a Christian family. There was no question about, working on Sunday. We always refrained from working on the Lord's Day.
At first, Groff found workarounds like doing extra work during the week and then transferring to a rural location that didn't do Sunday deliveries. But eventually the workaround stopped working, and when he couldn't find coverage for his Sunday shifts, he'd get in trouble for not showing up. In 2019, Groff quit and sued the Postal Service for not letting him observe the Sabbath.
I said, I feel like you're backing me into a corner, asking me to choose if I'm going to honor God or am I going to obey you as my authority, and my employer. I said, I mean no disrespect to you as my employer, but I have to choose God.
Groff's lawyers argued religious accommodations in the workplace need to be observed.
There's no reason religious workers should receive lesser protection than those covered by other accommodation statutes.
Part of the case hinged on an interpretation of an undue hardship of an employer. A 1977 Supreme Court ruling known as Hardison established that employers don't have to meet religious accommodations if there is even a minimal burden on the business. The Biden administration argued that Groff's absences created that hardship for the Postal Service.
His absences created direct, concrete burdens on other carriers who had to stay on their shifts longer to get the mail delivered. That caused problems with the timely delivery of mail, and it actually produced employee retention problems, with one carrier quitting and another carrier transferring and another carrier filing a union grievance.
According to the opinion, Groff sued under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, asserting that USPS could have accommodated his Sunday Sabbath practice without undue hardship on the conduct of USPS's business. A lower court ruled that Groff's request for Sundays off created a burden for coworkers and his workplace. But this week, the Supreme Court corrected that ruling, unanimously holding that Title VII requires an employer that denies a religious accommodation to show that the burden of granting an accommodation would result in substantial increased costs in relation to the conduct of its particular business.
We are a nation where not just all employers, but particularly government employers, do have to be respectful of someone's religious beliefs and practice. And that might mean having to work around schedules for someone who observes the Sunday Sabbath.
Groff told CBN News a few months ago he can't change what happened to him in the past, but he's hoping this ruling protects religious freedom for other Americans going forward. Reporting from Washington, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Thanks, Abigail. More than 17 million people are expected to travel this weekend into next week, according to the TSA. So far, the travel rush has brought in some headaches for so many people. On Thursday, more than 600 flights were canceled, leaving some passengers on edge and some stranded for days. Today, the TSA says it will be the busiest day of the holiday weekend, but they are staffed and prepared. While most of the airlines are back to normal, United Airlines is not and will possibly see more cancellations. The company's CEO blames the FAA for staffing issues, but Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says United seems to have issues that are specific to their airline. Even with strong numbers in Thursday's jobless claims report, the Federal Reserve is signaling another interest rate hike, and that has economists worrying over a coming recession. This week's jobless claims dropping, showing a still strong job market. Unemployment claims last week coming in at 239,000. That's 26,000 fewer than the previous week and down from a two-year high. Continuing claims for unemployment benefits dropped by 19,000, with 1.7 million workers receiving unemployment. Obesity is a nationwide health crisis. For decades, doctors have stressed the importance of exercise to maintain good health. Now, some men of faith have found a unique way to improve their health and serve God at the same time. CBN medical reporter Lori Johnson introduces us to a ministry of fitness and evangelism. It's called Garage Church Gym. Take a look.
That's it. Don't stop.
On the surface, this may look like a typical workout session. Garage Gym Church, however, is a new type of Christian outreach.
Our focus is on men, to give them a place where they could have camaraderie, where they could reach out to other men in like a sense of a band of brothers, growing together in the common man cave, the garage.
Turns out a garage gym can be a good place for men to let down their guard.
There's something disarming about when you're like all like sweating together and like working out hard and you're at the end of a workout where it's like you have these vulnerable moments where you can actually open up and share some deep stuff with each other. And to create those moments with guys is like priceless.
A home gym ministry is an example of how anyone can take their gifts, in this case, a simple, ordinary garage, and use them to serve God. What makes this approach even easier is lots of folks already work out in their garage.
During COVID times when gyms are shut down, there's like garage gyms popping up all over the place. In fact, like you couldn't even get gym equipment because everything was like sold out.
Chris Reardon found he experienced spiritual growth by combining his private home workout with high-energy praise music, prayer, scripture, and excerpts from fiery sermons. So he invited his Christian friends to join him.
There comes a time in your life you get tired of being defeated, you get tired of being slapped around by the devil.
It's like a church small group with a testosterone twist.
It's like a locker room. We're standing up, hey, we're talking, and you're going to say that today, hey, got 90 seconds, give me a God story, go. Hey, we're going to pray for each other right now, right? To really get this idea that this is something more, I guess, manly, if you will, because a lot of guys just don't pray together, right?
Marine Francis Edkid discovered how the venue provides a comfortable way to share his faith with non-believers.
Some of the sailors that I work that are having internal struggles, I bring them out here. And so I was like, hey, let's face that challenge together, man. Let's go.
Faith and Fitness magazine is spreading the word to churches and individuals about exactly how to start their own garage gym ministry.
It's not to take the place of regular church, but let's be honest, there's a whole world out there that's never going to get to what we call regular church, and for them, this may very well be it.
So while many Christians may feel working out is too time-consuming or selfish, consider combining this physical activity with Christian outreach to see how it can benefit both body and spirit. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Great story, Lori. Thank you. Coming up, see how a one-of-a-kind training center is making an historic milestone in the heart of Israel. Stay with us. We'll have that story in a moment. And welcome back to the broadcast. Since 2010, CBN News began to cover a story set in the hills of ancient Samaria, part of Israel's biblical heartland. It began a partnership between Jews and Christians, building a one-of-a-kind training center in the heart of Israel. As Chris Mitchell reports, it's just passed an historic milestone. Take a look.
This is the city of Ariel, considered the capital of Samaria, established in 1978.
It's just a sign and wonder that if you can imagine that this city was anticipated by God, and that here, some 40 years later, you've got the regional hub of all of Samaria. And important to Samaria, the crown jewel, is this National Center for Leadership Development.
Heather Johnston is co-founder of JH Israel, an organization committed to inspire the next generation of Israeli leaders to live their lives with purpose and a biblical identity. One of the main ways they do that is through the National Leadership Center, or NLC, where now more than 100,000 Israelis have come through.
So we are believing that God creating him in his image as a people. So the gate of the NLC is open for everybody. We have soldiers that coming from the IDF. Most of the participants are students that coming from all over. We have Arabs, Israelis that coming, a lot of groups of them, Jewish and Arabs coming together. Even we have groups of Palestinians. This garden is open for everybody.
JH Israel is based on learning through experience. Behind me is an obstacle course called the Odyssey, where people have to work together to accomplish a common goal. People from various walks of life go through obstacles together that are challenging, fun, and a gateway to the heart.
And we see the heart of the parents are very open to the children, and children is want to do. Because we are doing fun first, they are coming to here, they are climbing, they are doing, and then we start speaking with them about big issues in the family, in the government, in the country.
Endorsed by Israel's education ministry, the program focuses on biblical characters to help teach lessons.
So a reflection on the life of Joshua and Caleb and King David, and how they connected with God personally, how they saw themselves in relation to Israeli society, and then how to relate to the other.
First thing, we are speaking about the life of King David. Every child, we are say to them that we believe that you can be the next King David. We speak with them about Abram. We are speaking about Moses. We are speaking with them about going by a miracle from Egypt. So this is what we are speaking with the young people, coming back to the roots, understand the roots, understand our purpose. A human question that is everybody is open for that.
Johnston sees it as a fulfillment of prophecy.
I believe that we are standing in the days of Ezekiel 36, And if you can imagine that God anticipated the unfolding of modern Israel, the return of the Jews from the four quarters of the earth that would come after that, where God said, I'm going to take out the heart of stone. I'm going to give you a heart of flesh, O Israel. I'm going to put my spirit in you, and I'm going to lead you into a place of submission to me.
Johnston believes the center is helping influence the nation.
And I think that's the cultural shift inside of Israel today, which is toward the biblical heritage, toward a biblical identity, a biblical worldview. And that's what's happening, I believe, in this nation from the top to the bottom.
Johnston describes it as a remarkable partnership between Christians and Jews.
God anticipated that the Gentiles would come here, as we see in Jeremiah 31, in those days and at that time when you're rebuilding the cities, they come in from the land of the north. Again, you'll plant vineyards on the hills of Samaria. The farmers will plant them and enjoy their fruit, and there'll be a day when the watchmen, that is the Gentile believers, will stand here on these hills and say, come, let us go up to the Lord our God.
After passing one milestone, they would like to welcome the next 100,000 and beyond.
And I think the future is going to be amazing because the heart of the people is changing. We see the heart of stone changing. And this is the greatest of the nation, to connect it to the roots, and the future is going to be amazing. This is what we are doing here. We are teaching them about the past, that we can build a better future for all the children in Israel. And this is our wish.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, J.H. Israel, Ariel.
You can see more news from the Middle East on Jerusalem Dateline. It airs on the CBN News Channel tonight at 8:30 Eastern. You can also watch it on the CBN News app or on YouTube. Still ahead, singer Doe shares her latest music and a little about her life. Stay with us. You're watching CBN Newswatch. Welcome back to CBN Newswatch. June is dubbed Black Music Month, and Studio 5 is taking the time to highlight conversations with musical guests with samples of their latest music. Rounding out this month is singer Doe. Her latest single is titled Lead Us Again. Doe's journey to musical success is sweet and even includes a stint as an Uber driver. Take a look.
Holy Spirit, lead us again. We don't want to stay where we have been. Holy Spirit, lead us again. Oh, oh, oh.
Music seems to have always been a part of your life. Was there ever a thought of doing anything else?
There's always a thought of it. You know what's funny? Anytime I get like a week off, I'm like, I'm gonna go be in real estate.
Are you serious?
I can't tell you how many times I start looking for odd jobs on Indeed if I have too much time on my hands. I know, right? It's like this thing of like, what else can I get my hands into?
Wow.
You know, and I still want to be in real estate, but I don't know. I could teach high school. I could teach like the arts class, like the musical arts class. And I just like making kids do things they never thought they could do and showing them their potential. Like that's fun for me. So yeah, I have 3 college degrees, so I could go get like, that was the thing. When I moved to Dallas, I was like, I'm not gonna use this to go get a 9-to-5 because I will never ask for permission to leave town again. So I got my Uber license. And yes.
Was Doe driving Uber?
I was. And I was doing a good job too. I was doing a real good job. And I met lots of people. And there was this couple, there was one time when I told this couple, yeah, I sing. And I told them I sang on Cycles with Jonathan McReynolds. And they got really awkward. And I was like, oh, they think I'm making all of this up. Mm-hmm. And years later, there's a DM that I got on Instagram. And they're like, you remember us? You dropped us off for our honeymoon, and you know we love your music. And they weren't mean or anything, mm-hmm. But I was like, I probably look really ridiculous right now. My hair was in like pigtails on top of my head, and I'm driving them around Uber and telling them like, yeah, I'm in the industry, and so.
Wow.
But yeah, there's lots to do. I'm a person that could do anything except be at a desk staring at the wall for hours. Some people can do that. I can't. Yeah. Don't do that to me. Yeah.
How important is it for people who feel called to things like music and so forth to serve, you think, in their church before?
Yeah. I think there needs to be something that we're all doing and giving to that we don't get anything back for. You know what I'm saying? We all need that outlet in our life because it keeps us out of this mentality of I'm only here on this earth for the check. Being in a place to where you're giving and you're serving and you're touching people and no one's giving you a check for it keeps you in this headspace of it is all about people. It's all about God's people.
If you could go back in time and talk to little Doe, what would you tell her?
It's gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. I was really different. I was really different, and so I felt rejection at times and experienced a lot of that. And I think that it's shaped me into this person who wants to make people feel seen. I never want anyone to ever feel like because they're quirky and a little bit weird that they don't matter and that they need to go sit in the corner where all the cool people do whatever. Because I'm that person. And I always will be that person. So I just would tell her, like, you're going to be all right.
You're going to be all right. Good word there, Doe. Coming up, we take a look at a growing trend of revivals in prisons. Stay with us. You're watching CBN Newswatch.
It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Finally on the broadcast today, there's a revival taking place in prisons across America. The National Prison Ministry, God Behind Bars, says within the last week, at least 130 prisoners were baptized. The ministry is strategically working to reach more than 2.3 million people in the prison system, including providing faith-based Pando app, which allows inmates to access worship songs and sermons, as well as launching more churches within the prison system. That is so cool. Encouraging word, encouraging story to end this week. Folks, that is it for this edition of CBN Newswatch. Remember, you can find more of our awesome programs on the CBN News Channel anytime or online with cbnnews.com. Also, please tell us what you think about the stories you've seen by emailing newswatch@cbn.com, or you can reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. From all of us here from the headquarters of the Christian Broadcasting Network, have a fantastic rest of this week. A happy 4th of July. Stay safe. Stay cool. Have a great day. God bless.